Well, if you're an hour late, Mr. Billing, you must put up with a cold supper.
It looks excellent. Delicious.
You know how Stockman insists on regular eating hours. Surely that's Hofstad coming too.
Very likely.
Good evening, sister-in-law.
Oh, good evening. Is it you? It's very nice of you to look in.
I was just passing, and so I see you have company.
Oh, no, not at all. It's the merest chance. Won't you come in and have something?
No, thanks. Good gracious, hot meat in the evening. That wouldn't suit my digestion.
Oh, once in a blue moon.
No, much obliged to you. I stick to bread and tea and butter. It's more wholesome in the long run and rather more economical, too.
You mustn't think Thomas and I are mere spendthrifts either.
Oh, you're not, sister-in-law. Far be it for me to say that. Is he not at home?
No, he's gone for a little turn after supper with the children.
I wonder if that's good for him. Ah, there he is.
No, that's not he. Come in. It's Mr. Hofstad.
You must excuse me, I was detained at the printers. Good evening, Burgomaster.
Mr. Hofstad. Come on business, I presume.
Partly about something for the paper.
So I suppose. I hear my brother's an extremely prolific contributor to the People's Messenger.
Yes, he's good enough to give the messenger the benefit when he wants to relieve his mind on, well, any special
And won't
subject.
you?
You know, God forbid I should blame him for writing for the class of readers he finds most in sympathy with him. And personally, I've no reason to bear your paper any ill will, Mr. Hofstad.
No, I should think not.
On the whole, there's a great deal of mutual toleration in our town, an excellent public spirit. And that's because we have a great common interest that holds us together, an interest in which all right-minded citizens are equally concerned.
Yes, the baths.
Just so. We have our magnificent new baths. You'll see. The whole life of the town will center around the baths, Mr. Hofstad, beyond a doubt.
That's just what Thomas says.
How marvelously the place has developed, even within the last few years. Money has come into circulation and brought life and movement with it. Houses and rentals rise in value every day.
And the difficulty of getting work is decreasing.
True. There's a gratifying reduction in the burden imposed upon the well-to-do classes by the poor. If only we have a really good summer this year, plenty of visitors, lots of invalids to build the reputation of the baths.
Then the doctor's paper will be most opportune.
Oh, has he been writing again?
It's a thing he wrote in the winter, eulogizing the baths and enlarging on the excellent sanitary conditions of the town. But at the time, I held it over.
I suppose there was some little hitch.
Not at all, but I thought it better to keep until the spring when, people are beginning to look about them and think of their summer quarters.
You're right. Quite right, Mr. Hofstad.
Yes, Thomas really does his best where the baths are concerned.
Well, he's one of the staff.
And of course, he was really their creator.
Was he? I hear now and then that certain persons are of that opinion. But I should have thought that I, too, had a modest share in that undertaking.
Yes, that's what Thomas is always saying.
Yeah, who wants to deny it, Burgomaster? You set the whole thing going and put it on practical footing. Everybody knows that. I only meant that the original idea was the doctor's.
Yes, my brother has certainly had ideas enough in his time. Worse luck. But when it comes to realizing them, Mr. Hofstad, we want a man of another stamp. I should have expected that in this house, at least.
Why, my dear brother-in-law,
Oh, Burgomaster, how can you?
Do go in and have something, Mr. Hofstad. My husband is sure to be in directly.
Thanks. Just a bite, perhaps.
Extraordinary how people who spring direct from the peasant class never can shed their want of tact.
But why should you care? Can't you and Thomas share the honor like brothers?
Yes, one would suppose so. But it seems a share of the honor isn't enough for some persons.
What nonsense. You and Thomas always get on so well together. There, I think I hear him.
Here's another visitor for you, Katrine. What a delight. Come in, Captain Horster. Hang your coat on that peg. What? No overcoat? Look, Katrine. I caught him in the street, could hardly get him to join us. In with you, youngsters. They're starving again. Come on, Captain, you must have some of our roast beef.
But Thomas, don't you see? Your brother.
Oh, is that you, Peter? Now, this is really delightful.
Unfortunately, I must be off in a moment.
Oh, nonsense. We'll have a hot toddy in a minute. You're not forgetting the toddy, Katrine.
Of course not. The water's boiling.
Toddy, too.
Yes, sit down. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Thanks. I never join in drinking parties.
But this isn't a party.
It seems to me it's wonderful how they can get through all that food.
Yes. Doesn't it do one good to see young people eat? They're always hungry. That's as it should be. They must eat. They need strength. It's they that have got to keep the ferment of the future astir, Peter.
May I ask what there is to be kept astir, as you call it?
You'll have to ask the young people that when the time comes. We shan't see it, of course, two old fogies like you and me.
Oh, surely that's an extraordinary expression to use.
Don't mind my nonsense, Peter. I'm in glorious spirits, you see? I feel so happy in the midst of all this growing, germinating life. What a glorious time we live in. It seems as if a whole new world is springing up around us.
You really think so?
Well, of course, you can't see it as clearly as I do. You've passed your life in the midst of it all. But I, vegetating all those years in that little hole in the north, hardly ever seeing a soul to speak a stimulating word to me.
Stimulating.
Well, here there's vitality and promise and infinity of things to work and strive for. And that's the point. Katrine,
Yes.
haven't there been any letters?
No, none at all.
And then a good income, Peter. That's a thing one learns to appreciate when one had lived on starvation wages.
Good heavens.
Oh, yes. I can tell you, we all had often hard times of it up there. And now we can live like princes. Today, for example, we had roast beef for dinner and for supper too. Have some.
No.
Oh, come on. Take a
No,
look
no.
anyway.
No, certainly not.
Look, then, look over here. Do you see? We bought a table cover
Yes, so I observed.
and a lampshade too. Do you see? Katrine has been saving up for them, and they make the room look comfortable, don't they?
Yes, well, when one can afford such luxuries.
Oh, yes, we can afford it now. Katrine says I make almost as much as we spend.
Almost.
Besides, a man of science must live in some style. And after all, I really don't spend anything unnecessarily, Peter. But after being so long isolated, it's a necessity of life to have bright, freedom-loving, hardworking young men around me. That's what they all are in there, eating so heartily. I wish you knew more of Hofstede.
Ah, Hofstede. He was telling me that he's going to publish another article of yours.
An article of mine.
Yes, about the baths, an article you wrote last winter.
Oh, that one. I don't want that one to appear just now.
Why not? It seems to me this is the very time for it.
Very likely under ordinary circumstances.
Well, what's unusual about the circumstances
Peter,
now?
I really can't tell you yet, not this evening. At all events, there may prove to be a great deal that's unusual in the circumstances. On the other hand, there may be nothing at all. Very likely, it's only my fancy.
Upon my word, you're very enigmatical. Is there anything in the wind? Anything I'm to be kept in the dark about? I should think as chairman of the Bath Committee that
I should think that there. Don't. Let's get our backs up, Peter.
God forbid I'm not in the habit of getting my back up, as you express it. But I must absolutely insist that everything should be carried on in a business-like manner and through the proper authorities. I can't be a party to crooked or underhand ways.
Have I ever been given to crooked or underhand ways?
Anyhow, you have an ingrained propensity to going your own way. And that, in a well-ordered community, is almost as inadmissible. The individual must submit to society, to the authorities whose business it is to watch over the welfare of society.
Maybe. But what the devil does that have to do with me?
Why, that's the very thing, my dear Thomas, that it seems you won't learn. But take care. You'll have to pay for it sooner or later. Now I've warned you. Goodbye.
Are you quite mad? You're on a totally wrong track.
I'm not usually on the wrong track. Besides, I must beg you not. Goodbye, sister-in-law.
Is he gone?
Yes. And in a fine mood, too.
My dear Thomas, what have you been saying to him now?
Nothing at all. He can't expect me to account to him for everything before it's time.
Account to him for what?
Never mind, Katrine. It's very odd there are no letters.
Strike me dead if you don't feel like a new man after such a meal.
The burgomaster didn't seem in the best of tempers this evening.
That's his stomach. He has very poor digestion.
Yeah, it's the staff of the messenger he has difficulty stomaching.
I thought you got on with him well enough.
Oh, yes, but it's only sort of an armistice between us.
That's it. That word sums up the situation.
We must remember Peter's a bachelor, the poor devil. He has no happy home, only business. Now, then, let's put chairs around the table, fellows. Katrine, can we have the toddy now?
I'm just getting it.
And you, Captain Horster, sit down beside me on the sofa. So rare a guest as you. Be seated, gentlemen.
Here you are. Here's arak, and this is rum, and this cognac. Now, help yourselves.
So we will. You know, I stick to my pipe. This one has been on many a journey with me up there in the north. Your health. I can tell you it's better fun to sit here, all cozy, safe from wind and weather.
Do you sail soon, Captain Horster?
I hope to be ready for a start by next week.
And you're going to America?
Yes, that's the intention.
But you'll miss the election of the new town council.
Is there to be another election?
You didn't know?
No, I don't bother about these things.
But I suppose you take an interest in public affairs.
No, I don't know anything about them.
Still, one ought to make one's use of their vote.
Even those who don't know anything about it?
Understand anything. Now, what do you mean by that? Society is like a ship. Every man must put his hand to the helm.
Well, that may be all right on shore, but at sea it wouldn't do at all.
Well, it's remarkable how little sailors care about public affairs as a rule.
So the rest of us have to be all the more energetic, Mr. Ofsted. Will there be anything of public interest in the People's Messenger tomorrow?
And nothing of local interest, but the day after tomorrow, I'm thinking of printing your article.
Gracious sakes, you'll have to hold that over.
Really? We have plenty of space, and I'd say this is just the time for it.
Yes, you may be right, but you'll have to hold it over all the same. I'll explain by and by.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, Petra. Is that you?
Here you all are enjoying yourselves while I've been out slaving.
Well, then you come and enjoy yourself too.
Can I mix you a little?
Oh, thanks, I'll help myself. You always make it too strong. But by the way, Father, I have a letter for you.
A letter? From whom?
Oh, I got it from the mailman just as I was going out.
And you only bring it to me now?
I really didn't have time to run up again. Here it is.
Yeah, let me see, child. Yes, that's it.
Is this what you've been expecting, Thomas?
Yes, it is. I must go at once. Where can I find a light, Katrine? Is there no lamp in my study again?
Yes, you've a lamp on the writing table.
Good. Excuse me one moment.
What can that be, Mother?
I don't know. The last few days, he's been constantly on the lookout for the mailman.
Probably a country patient.
Poor Father, he'll soon have far too much to do. Ah, this will be good.
Have you been teaching in the night school as well today?
2 hours.
And 4 hours in the morning at the Institute?
5 hours.
And I see you some exercises to correct this evening.
Yes, a heap of them.
It seems to me you've plenty to do, too.
Yes, but I like it. One's so delightfully tired after.
You like that?
Yes, you sleep so well.
Well, Petra, you must be a great sinner.
A sinner?
Yes, if you work so hard. Mr. Allen said work is a punishment for our sins.
Oh, what a fool to buy that!
Now I live.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't you like to work hard, Marta?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, what do you intend to be then?
I'd like to be a Viking.
Girls can't be Vikings, and then you'd have to be a heathen.
Some Vikings were girls and a heathen. So what?
There I agree with you, Marta. I say just the same.
No, Mr. Billing, you don't.
Strike me dead, but I do. I'm a heathen and proud of it. We'll all be heathens soon enough.
And then we can do anything we like?
Wow, Marta,
Now, run away, children. I'm sure you have some lessons to do for tomorrow.
Can I stay just a little longer?
No, you must go too. Be off, both of you.
Do you really think it hurts the kids to hear these things?
Well, I don't know, but I don't like it.
Well, Mother, I think you're quite wrong there.
Maybe, but I don't like it. Here at home.
All this hypocrisy, both at home and school. At home, you must hold your tongue, and at school, you have to stand up and lie to the children.
To lie?
Yes, do you think we don't have to teach many and many a thing we don't believe ourselves?
oh yes, we know that well enough.
If only I could afford it, I'd start a school myself, and things would be very different there.
Afford it?
If you're really thinking of doing that, Miss Stockman, I shall be delighted to let you have a room at my place. My father's old house is all but empty. There's a large dining room on the ground floor.
Oh, thank you very much, but nothing will come of it.
No. I bet Miss Petra would rather take up journalism. Oh, by the way, have you had time to look into that Countryman's novel that you promised to translate for us from the French?
Oh, not yet, but you'll have it in good time.
Here's news I can tell you that will wake up the town.
News?
What news?
A great discovery, Katrine.
What?
Made by you?
Yes, by me. Now let them go on accusing me of fads and crack-brained notions, but they'll dare not to.
Father, do tell us what it is.
Give me just a minute and you'll all hear about it. If only Peter were here. This just shows how we go about forming judgments like the blindest moles.
What do you mean, Doctor?
Don't we generally think our town is healthy?
Of course.
Indeed, an exceptionally healthy place, a place to be recommended with confidence, both to invalids and people in health.
My dear Thomas.
Certainly, we've not failed to recommend and glorify it. I mean, I've written again and again, both in the messenger and in pamphlets.
Yeah, well, what then?
Well, these baths that we've called the pulse of the town, it's spinal nerve and who knows what all. But do you know what they really are? These mighty, magnificent, glorious baths that cost so much. Do you know what they are?
Do tell us.
What?
Simply a pestiferous hole.
Baths?
Baths?
Doctor.
Incredible.
I tell you, the whole place is just a poisonous sinkhole. Noxious in the highest degree. All the filth up there in the meal dell with its horrible stench. It taints the waters in the feed pipes to the baths. And that same accursed slime oozes out by the beach.
Where the sea baths are?
Exactly.
Well, but how can you be so sure of all this, Doctor?
Well, I've studied the whole thing with great care. I've long had my doubts. Last year, we had some unusual cases of illness among the patients, serious, both typhoid and gastric attacks.
Yes, I remember.
At the time, we thought the visitors had brought the infection with them. But last winter, I began to question that. So I set about testing the water as best I could.
It's that you were working so hard at.
Yes, you could say I've worked, Katrine. But here, I hadn't the necessary scientific equipment. So I sent samples of our drinking water and of our seawater as well off to the university for exact analysis by a chemist.
And you've received his report.
Here it is. And it proves beyond dispute the presence of decaying organic matter in the water. Millions of bacteria, absolutely noxious to health, whether used internally or externally.
Blessing you found it in time.
Yes, you can certainly say that.
Well, and what do you do now, Doctor?
Well, you set things straight, of course.
Well, do you think that can be done?
It must be done, else the whole baths are useless, ruined. No fear. I'm quite clear as to what's required.
But my dear Thomas, why did you make such a secret of all this?
Would you have me rush all over town and chatter about it before I was quite certain? No thanks. I'm not as mad as that.
But to us at home,
I couldn't say a word to a living soul. But tomorrow you may look in at the Badgers.
Oh, Thomas.
Well, your grandfathers The old guy will be astonished. He thinks I'm not quite right in my head. Yes, and plenty others think the same. I've noticed. But now these good people will see. Yes, they shall now see. Oh, what a stir there'll be in town. Katrine, just think. All the water pipes will have to be relayed.
All the water pipes?
Of course. The intake for the water is too far downstream. It must be moved much higher up.
So you were right after all.
Yes. You remember, Petra, I wrote against it when they were beginning the works. But then no one would listen to me. Now, you can be sure I'll give them my full broadside. Of course, I've prepared a statement for the directors. It's been lying there ready a whole week. I've only been waiting for this report. But now they'll have it at once. See? 4 closely written sheets. And I'll enclose the report. Newspaper, Katrine. Give me something to wrap them up in. There, that's it. Give it to, what the devil's her name? Give it to the girl and tell her to take it at once to the burgomaster.
What do you think Uncle Peter will say, Father?
What can he say? He's bound to be pleased by the discovery of such a crucial fact.
I suppose you'll let me put a short notice of your discovery in the messenger?
Yes, yes, I'll be most pleased.
It's important that the public know about it as soon as possible.
Yes, certainly.
She's taken it.
Strike me dead if you won't be a hero in this town, Doctor.
Nonsense. I've only done my duty. Just a lucky treasure hunter, but all the same.
Hofstede, don't you think the town ought to honor Dr. Stockman with a torchlight procession?
I shall certainly propose it.
No, dear friends, let's let all such claptrap be. I won't hear of any such thing. And if the directors want to raise my salary, I won't accept it. I tell you, Katrine, I will not accept it.
Quite right, Thomas.
Your health, Father.
Your health, Doctor.
Health, Doctor.
To the joy of your discovery.
Thanks. Thanks, my dear friends. I can't tell you how happy I am. What a blessing it is to feel you've deserved well of your native town and fellow citizens. Oh, Katrine.